Hey everyone, my name is Barb Herrera and this is Health at Any Cost. I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about my mama's passing. It was actually really amazing. It was really beautiful. And I was the only one there with her when she passed. And I wanted to give you just a little bit to give you an idea of where I come from. First of all, I want to show you my shirt. Ta-da! My granddaughter made that for me. Isn't that fun? And then, yes, I still have the bandage on. The scars do not cover it enough yet. So it's got to heal a whole lot more before I can get scarves on it. So I've been wearing my, wearing this and wearing my hat. Here's my hat. Like this. This is how I walk around with my glasses on, and this is how I walk around. So anyway, okay. So today's the 25th of October, and Mama passed on the 22nd. Megan got into town. My daughter Amy got into town. My son Tristan is in Chicago and called and talked to my mom. She could not communicate at all. My brother was there every single day. It just was amazing. Everybody got there. And that was on the 21st, and she died on the 22nd. My daughter Amy brought her two youngest with her. One is 6, 7. She just turned a new age. I can't remember. And the other is 3. And they brought really beautiful music, things to very echoey kind of sounds. I don't know what you would call them. They're just really beautiful, chimey sounding things. And then Amy also brought a bunch of chimes. My mom collected wind chimes. And so Amy brought some wind chimes for my mama. She decorated the room with flowers. Amy's my hippie child twin. Decorated the room with flowers, brought a handmade quilt and put it on mama on top of the ugly white blankets in the hospital. It was just really, really beautiful. I got pictures of our hands. I'll put those up. Put my picture of my hands with my mom. I have this thing about hands. So if you can, take pictures of your loved one's hands. You have to label it right away unless you have a specific ring or tattoo that somebody can see. But its hands are so special, especially after the person is gone, that you can remember holding their hand. For me, for my mom, it reminds me of when she held me when I was a baby, and she was young too. She was 21 when she had me, and how wonderful it was that she held my hand across the street. She held my hand when I was hurting. She was just amazing. And that's why I take hand pictures. I have a whole slew of hand pictures of people at work with hands, guitars, all kinds of stuff. I just have a full collection of hand photography. So I got pictures of all of our hands. On the day that my mom passed, my brother was exhausted and he went home, and he had been going home at night. And I just felt that somebody needed to be with her. And so I said, I'm on my way up, and I went up, and my mom's husband was there for a while. And then when he left, I turned on music. Now I've been playing music for my mom when nobody's in the room. I've been playing 70s music, 60s music, Simon and Garfunkel, Rolling Stones, all kinds of stuff. She's very eclectic, which is part of what I want to tell you. And I would sing, and I just sang to her, and then I would dance. And I wrote about this in my Substack about how I sang to her the songs that she loved. I recited books to her. And one of the things that I did was act out Where the Wild Things Are, because she loved that book. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind or another. And so I did that for my mom. And she was totally just not communicative at all. She was halfway between here and there. And that was beautiful. That was beautiful. My sister, my daughter Amy is Aimee. My sister was Amy. And my sister Amy was born on October 2nd, 1962, and she died a few years ago from an accidental overdose to fentanyl. And my mom missed her so much. They were so close. They were best friends. And all the time when she was sick, she's been sick for a few years now. We didn't know that she had cancer until like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. And she would talk about Amy and how she'd get to see Amy again. And it was really cool. So Amy's birthday was October 2nd. And here we are now on October 22nd. And I'm alone with my mom. And now I'm playing 1970s love songs. And it was really peaceful. And I could see that she was close. She had the death rattle. And then when everybody was gone and it was just me and her, I held her hand and I could see that she was going. And she took a few breaths and then she was gone. And the music on at that moment was the song Sailing by Christopher Cross. And also, as a midwife, I am trained to look at the time when babies are born. That's just automatically. So the moment my mom died, I looked at the clock and it was 10:02. And it wasn't until the next day that I realized it was 10/2, Amy's birthday, on 10/22. And I thought, okay, Amy, now we're not the most spiritual, or we're spiritual, more spiritual than we are religious. We're not religious at all. And I just laughed. I said, Amy, did you like wait until 10:02 to put your hand out and say, come on, Mama, come with me? And then Mama was gone. And I didn't cry, just like now. I'm a little teary at the moment. But my mom had the most amazing life. She worked at Disney for 42 years. She opened the Contemporary Resort and worked in the Pueblo Room. And then she opened the Beach Club and worked in Cape May Cafe. And so she had 40 plus years of making people so happy. And they loved my mom. My mom was such an amazing server. She was so wonderful. She was so great. She carried bubbles with her all the time so she could give the little kids who were crying little bubbles so that they could stop crying. And she always brought crackers first. If you're a parent, you know that you have to wait for food when the kids are starving. So she always brought crackers or cheese or something for the kids to nosh on until dinner got there. And she was crazy, fun, kind of crazy. As you see in the thumbnail, her license plate, her last license plate is Gangsta Grandma. My mom loved rap. Besides all the other music that she loved rap. Now, and I'm not kidding, Eminem, Tupac, they were her heroes. I don't know why, never understood it. One time I made her cry because I was arguing with her about Tupac, and Megan grabbed me out of the booth and she said, don't you ever make your mother cry again. I was like, okay, I won't. And I didn't. But mom liked rap so much that she would drive around when she was drive around with the windows down singing these rap songs. And I had to tell her, Mama, you can't do that. You're a white lady. You cannot be saying these words out the window. Somebody will be very angry. So she at least rolled up the windows and turned on the air conditioner so she could holler her songs. When Hamilton came out, I introduced my mom to Hamilton. And she loved it, of course, because it's hip hop and rap, and it was so wonderful, and she just loved it. Well, when it came to Orlando, the tickets were $500 for up in the high seats in the balcony, and I could only afford one. I really couldn't afford that either. But I was like, I wanted to go in the worst way But my mom really needed to go. And so she was the one to get the ticket. And I counseled her because she was using a cane at the time and how she needed to go to the handicap place, let the people help her, the ushers help her up, blah, blah, blah. Well, when she walked in with her ticket, which was, I swear to you, up in the balcony in the back row, an usher came up to her and escorted her to the third row center in the front. We have no idea how that happened. Why? Who moved out of the way? Who was it that gifted my mom this seat? Who in the universe? What in the universe did that? But my mom sat down in her third row center seat, and she texted me right as the show was beginning, right when the king is talking and telling us about it being his show. And she texted me and said, Barbie, which she called me, Barbie, I have loved you my whole life, but never more than tonight. And it was so wonderful. It was so wonderful. I totally made the right decision to let my mama go. I was so happy. And she loved it. She thought it was great. Mama is going to be remembered by all of us by her humor and her fun. A couple other things, let me tell you. My mom loved rock and roll as well. I mean, she was like with it all the time. I was 12 when she went to go see the Rolling Stones up in Jacksonville, and I remember her coming back, and she had such a good time. And I was like, Mom, when are you going to grow up? And she looked at me and said, never. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I remembered that over and over as I was at an AC/DC concert and ran into my mom at the AC/DC concert, and she was high and I was not. Now, my mom wasn't a druggie or anything. She had this beautiful job at Disney. It was wonderful. But there she was. And I just shook my head, said, hi, Mom, and moved on. And then another time I ran into my mom at Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's so funny. If you know Rocky Horror Picture Show in the theater, you know how raucous it is and how naughty it is. And here I am in the same auditorium as my mom, and it was just so, we didn't sit anywhere near each other. Not that we pretended to not know each other, but we definitely did not sit next to each other. So my mom was so much fun. She had a blast. There was not one thing she did not do that she wanted to do in her life. Nothing. She did everything she wanted to do. And people say to me how sad it is, and they give their condolences, which is sweet and very kind. Between my mom and I, we had nothing unsaid. Nothing. Everything we needed to say was said before she was gone. And when she passed, when Christopher Cross was done singing, my mom had told me this story about her being in high school and singing the Handel's Messiah Hallelujah chorus, and how she had to pee really bad and she wet her pants while she was singing the Hallelujah chorus. So she loved singing the Hallelujah chorus. So I put it on. I found the Candlelight Processional at Disney, and I put on the Candlelight Processional's Hallelujah chorus. And then I found another one with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, and I put that on for her while we were waiting for people to come in. And I sang. And then right before I left, my stepfather had come back. And right before I left, this is where I'll cry. I looked at her and I said, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. And I kissed her on her forehead. And I held her hand. And I left. It is sad. but only about this much. She was 84. She lived an amazing life. She had a blast. And I'm going to tell you one piece that has to do with GLP-1s. My mom had a very hard time with me being fat my whole life. And as I got over 300, she was even more distressed. But I was so tired of hearing everybody talk to me about my weight, including my mother. I told everyone, I told them, I said, you need to stop talking to me about my weight or I'm not going to come around. And so my mom was quiet and she never said another word. When I went on GLP-1s, I didn't know that Trulicity was a GLP-1, and I went on that in April of 2022 and then started Mounjaro in September of 2023. And then I knew I was on a GLP-1. I'd already lost right about 100 pounds. And now, at that time, my weight became a glorious issue. Everybody commented how I was losing weight. I looked so much healthier. And I loved it. And my mom would hug me and she'd say, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And about a year ago, she said to me, now I can die in peace. I know you're not going to die before me. And I know you're going to live a long life. I am so glad that you've lost weight and gotten healthy. And you know what? I am too. That was the best gift I could have given my mom. Even better than reciting Love You Forever. Giving my mom my life and my health and letting her know that I'd be okay. Thank you all for listening. Love you all so much. I'm Barb Herrera, and this is Health at Any Cost.